Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be sharing some healthier options for you for dinner ideas. I know everybody has their own idea of what's healthy and what's not, but I hope you enjoy this video and find a recipe that you like. First off, today we're going to be making these chicken fajita bowls, and we're going to start by making our seasoning. To this little bowl, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, a half teaspoon of onion powder, a half teaspoon of paprika, a half teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. For the chicken, I have 2 breasts here. I'm just going to cut these all into nice small strips. Over to my skillet, I'm going to add some olive oil, and once I get the chicken all cut up, I'm just going to add that right in here. And I'm going to add half of the seasoning that we made. Make sure you reserve the other half for a little later. And then we're just going to add a little bit of lime juice, maybe 2 teaspoons. You can add more if you like lime juice. Once my chicken is finished cooking, I'm just going to remove that to a separate bowl for right now. In the same exact skillet, we're going to start cooking some onion. I have half of a large onion here. I just sliced it, and then I have about 2 bell peppers. I like to keep my bell peppers in the freezer, so I have a mixed color here, but you can use any color you would like. I'm just going to let these peppers and this onion cook until they are nice and tender. And then once they are, I'm going to add my chicken back in for just a minute and let that warm through. You can serve these with whatever toppings you would like. I have some lettuce, sour cream, some shredded cheese, a little bit of sriracha, tomatoes, green onions, and avocado. This is what my finished bowl looked like right here. I love all the toppings. My husband, not so much. He is not a fan of veggies in general, so this is what his bowl looked like. He just had some cheese, sour cream, and a little hot sauce in his. Up next, we're going to be making this black pepper chicken, and I want to let you know ahead of time, this has some heat to it. So we're going to begin by marinating some chicken. I'm doing this a couple hours ahead of time. I have 2 medium chicken breasts that I have cut into cubes in this little bag, and I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of honey along with 3 tablespoons of vinegar, 3 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. And then I'm going to seal this bag up, making sure I get out as much air as possible, and this is just going to sit in my refrigerator for about 4 or 5 hours until I'm ready to cook dinner. Now, closer to cooking dinner, I am slicing up 1 red bell pepper. I am removing the insides, the seeds, and cutting these into nice small strips. Over to my skillet. This skillet has heated up. I'm going to add my chicken in here using a slotted spoon. I don't want all the liquid from the marinade in here just yet. I want the chicken to kind of crisp up a little bit in the pan before we add the marinade. I'm also adding in my bell pepper because I want it to get a little color on it as well. Now that my chicken has some color on it, I'm adding a heaping tablespoon of minced garlic. I'm going to let this all cook together for about 30 seconds to a minute. Now we're going to start making the sauce. I'm going to add in the juices from the marinade bag. I'm going to give that a quick stir just to make sure my garlic does not burn. And then we're going to add a couple other things in here to make this sauce. Now I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of sesame seed oil along with about 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. As far as seasonings go, I'm adding 1 1/4 teaspoons of ginger, a half teaspoon of black pepper, and then about a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. You can actually add more black pepper in here if you like it to be extra spicy. However, you don't want to make it too spicy to where you can't eat your meal, so I would start with that half teaspoon. You can always add more later. You do want to let your sauce simmer for about 10 minutes. It's going to thicken up, but you have to remember it had raw chicken in it, so you definitely want to make sure you cook it through. This is what my husband's finished bowl looked like. He just had his over some white rice. I had mine over some cauliflower rice just to keep it a little bit more low carb. Me and my husband actually went on a kick with these homemade chicken nuggets last year, so I thought I would share them with you because it has been a while for me since I made them. I'm preheating my oven to 375 and then I'm grating up one zucchini. The zucchini is going to act as a binder in this recipe, so you want to make sure you remove as much liquid from the zucchini as possible. To remove the liquid, you're just going to need a cheesecloth or a very thin towel, and then you can just squeeze the liquid out as much as you can. Here's my zucchini after removing some of the liquid. As you can see, it comes apart a lot easier now. Next, you're going to need 1 pound of ground chicken as well as 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I'm adding in about half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. I've made this so many times I don't measure myself, but I'm going to try to give you measurements as well as possible. I'm also adding in 1 teaspoon of onion powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika and cayenne pepper. This is your base seasoning mix, but you can add more seasonings if you would like. I've made this so many times that me and my husband like to try out different seasonings in it. One we love is this Parmesan ranch seasoning, so I'm just going to add a little layer of that over the top, not really measuring the amount of this, and we're just going to mix that in as well. When I make these chicken nuggets, I like to use this specific pan. It has this little rack over the top. I do line it underneath with some aluminum foil to catch all the drippings for easy cleanup. Now I'm just going to fill up my tray by rolling these up into nice small little oval shapes, and then once we get those all completed, these are going in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes until they have cooked to 165. We really enjoy eating these with some spicy honey mustard. It really just complements them really well. And then we just ate these with some sweet potato fries. And I was going to share these as well, but to be honest, we were not a fan of these particular sweet potato fries. This last recipe was absolutely amazing. Me and my husband both want to make it again as soon as possible. I'm going to start by peeling and cutting up one sweet potato. This was a pretty large sweet potato. I'm just cutting it into these nice small pieces. To make this recipe a nice quick one, we are going to add these potatoes in the microwave for about 5 minutes. This is just going to soften them up, that way they don't take forever to cook in our skillet. I'm actually going to do the same thing with a regular potato as well, since my husband doesn't like sweet potatoes too much. Feel free to make this the original way with 2 regular sized sweet potatoes in 1 skillet, but as we all know, my husband's super picky, so I'm doing it a little differently. In my front skillet here, I'm going to cook up 1 pound of 8515 ground turkey. I'm also adding in a spoonful of minced garlic to cook with this turkey. If you're just making this with the sweet potatoes, then you can keep everything in 1 skillet, but since I'm splitting it up for the 2 of us, I'm going to take this meat and just cut it in half and add half of it to this pan and keep the other half in the original pan. Now I'm adding my sweet potatoes into my skillet and his regular potato into his skillet. Both of these have been microwaved for 5 minutes. And from here on out, I'm just going to split everything in half between the 2 pans. So I have 1 can of black beans, 1 can of rotel or diced tomatoes with green chilies. In each pan, I'm going to add a half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of chili powder, a half teaspoon of cumin, and then I'm just adding a sprinkle of our chipotle chili powder in here. I did not want this to be overly spicy, but I definitely still wanted to keep the chipotle flavor in there. I will link the original recipe for you. It called for all chipotle chili powder, and I just didn't want that much spice in here. At this point, you're just going to get it all mixed together, and you're just going to let these potatoes kind of rehydrate with the juices from the tomatoes, and then also let everything just completely warm through. Now we're just going to sprinkle some shredded cheese over the top. I had a little bit of cheddar left over that I wanted to use up. And then I had some Fiesta style cheese that I added over the top. We're just going to let that melt down and then it's ready to eat. I know it's probably a little confusing how I split the recipe, but everything will be linked and typed out below for you exactly what I did. For my plate, I added salsa, sour cream, and green onions, and then on my husband's, he just had some sour cream and green onions, but you guys, this recipe is amazing. Both of us ate everything out of our skillets, but oh my gosh, so worth it. I would definitely make this again and again and again. Thank you so much for being here today and watching this video to the end. You are amazing for being here and supporting me through every video, and I can't thank you enough. I'll see you back here on Sunday with another week of meals.